A gunshot, a body, a massive population minus one human, one being, one entity, one mind, one potential suppressed by its environment. Transition. End scene. But now, the story is not up to the shooter. It goes on, growing ever stronger. The story behind the newspaper article. The story behind the headline. Could be anything. Could be boy shot on way home from school. Could be girl killed in random drive-by shooting. Someone reads the article, then puts down the paper, gets distracted by work or school or the necessities of their own individual life. So the momentary spark burns out. But the flame must be kept alive. In some neighborhoods, violence is not just a headline, as it is to those who can hide behind their wealth or supposed ignorance. It is, in fact, a way of life. And this perpetual cycle of oppression and violence is simply and undeniably a waste of young people's potential. As quoted by Maria Mitchell, an American astronomer renowned in discovering a comet, "We have a hunger of the mind which asks knowledge of all around us, and the more we gain, the more is our desire. The more we see, the more we are capable of seeing." And so we must ask ourselves, is it in society's authority to deny this most basic and unalienable right of any person or being? We wield no such jurisdiction over any member of the populace, young or old, rich or poor, man or woman, educated or illiterate. Yes, there is free education, but you cannot just leave it at that, as society cannot benefit from the minimum requirement. These students are not objects that come with a receipt, purchase order, refundable. School is teaching you about how to interact in the outside world. What about those who come from this outside world and the trauma is still raw and unresolved? Some students have to deal with this every single day of their lives. How can one function and focus on tests and quizzes, their ticket out of their neighborhood through graduating, when the day before their best friend was murdered right in front of their very eyes? An act of random violence, yes, but the numbing quality of this perpetual way of life starts to become less random and more frequent. A psychologist at Children's Hospital in Oakland said that this type of environment is like a war zone and that these kids can suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder in their very neighborhood. Now tack on a midterm. Now tack on an essay. Pull a soldier out of combat and say, okay, you are in society now. Adapt, assimilate, return to normal. Start now. Some kids cannot focus on schoolwork, cannot function the same, are totally apathetic to school and the whole system of education. And some less attuned teachers may attribute this to lack of interest or dedication. Problem student, a weak link in their believed to be perfect chain. But actually, growing up and living in and around these neighborhoods, all you have to do is look around and you can see these bright, intelligent students bursting with potential excitement, interest, and curiosity, but are shut down by the iron fist of violence and gang violence penetrating their every thought. I am distracted from my homework when I know that it is dinner, or when I'm talking to my friends. Imagine just for a second that instead you are in this constant state of perpetual fear and anxiety, struggling always, every day, to keep your head above the surface. That is bravery. And bravery is not a bad, misunderstood, or stubborn student. That is not a student worth giving up on. Thank you.